Well, long time no see. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Grace with Creational Codes and Rooted Within, and I'm so happy to be talking with you again. I know we took a little break, but it was very needed, and I didn't want to show up if I was like in a deep slump, but I've had immense realizations about showing up authentically for this community and not needing to appear in one way that is like false or made up, or I almost like imagine like putting makeup on and then showing up here and acting like, oh yes, everything's perfect and fine. That would be cool. I would put more content out, but it wouldn't be real. I just refuse to do that. I can't do that. I am learning within myself that's just not something that rolls well with my body. But today we have a deeper, more intense conversation about self-loathing and avoidant personality disorder, and I guess just mental health overall. I really want to talk about this and almost normalize the struggle that so many people are going through. Not to normalize it in a way where it's like, this is normal and this is perfectly fine, but normalize it in a way where we're communicating about it and we're not pretending that some of us are just living in this fantasy world while others of us are struggling immensely. I personally struggle immensely with my mental health daily. I struggle with self-loathing from time to time, and I wanted to talk about it because as women, and as spiritual women, and as women who care so deeply about the world, we need to talk about self-loathing. So again, I warned you, this is a heavy conversation, but I'm super happy that you're here. And if you like this video, and if you like this channel, make sure you're subscribed and make sure you like it down below. And of course, stay tuned for the video and the content. So I do like to give a pre-front little index about what this video is going to contain. So we're going to talk about struggling. So we're going to talk about struggling with self-loathing. We're going to talk about comparison, about being a woman. We're going to talk about APD and social anxiety. We're going to talk about caring too much and apathy. And we're also going to talk about learning how to heal from these signs and, ways of being. I feel like it is immensely important that we recognize any issue that we have, whether it's social anxiety, APD, depression, any health issues, are really just signs where our body is so intelligent. It's trying to guide us and alert us and communicate with us in the only way that it knows how, which is through our biology. And so all of these things that I'm going to be speaking about don't mean that you're broken if you're going through them. It just means that your body's trying to tell you something. And we can listen or we can choose to not listen. But I highly recommend listening when you can. Struggling with self-loathing for me has kind of occurred since I was very young. I would say since I went through puberty. And I started to notice like, oh, I'm a woman. I have breasts. I am a bit more curvy. People are giving me attention. People are giving me attention I don't really want. Comparing myself to other girls around me. The schooling system is pretty atrocious for this, like, pitting us up against each other with grades, with just society in general is not a safe place for a lot of people at this point. And it's warped our heads to believe that we're basically just in a gigantic competition with grades, with jobs, with, status, with beauty, with, looking a certain kind of way in order to have value. And so this takes a massive toll on our self-image and on how we love ourselves, how we trust ourselves, how we relate to other people. Tie in spirituality, and it really just becomes this massive, enormous amount of empathy, consciousness, the ability to see things in a way that other people can't, that kind of alienates you, and it places you in a box that is really hard to understand. And so us girlies, we need to, talk about this and really lean on each other and heal with each other, as hard as it is. Even for myself, I have massive wounds with women, and I really want to heal this. I'm putting it out there that I am going to heal it. It is already healed. And we are just going through the processing of learning how to heal this. So, self-loathing, signs and symptoms of self-loathing, of course, I'm not a psychologist, but this is just my experience. So, self-loathing can really hide. We can be high functioning people who secretly loathe our person, or who secretly are self-sabotaging and are secretly, empathetically just demeaning our person constantly. And this is not healthy. So we need to look at these ways in which we can do these things. And of course, this is based on my own personal experience. First is wanting everyone around you to be happy at all costs. So, just doing whatever you're doing, just being yourself. And then if you notice that somebody around you is getting upset, or if you could potentially be the reason that they're upset, you might just kind of do whatever it takes in order to make that person happy. Taking your time, your resources, your energy, and being almost in this self-sacrificial state in order to ensure that everyone around you is pleased. And this, of course, comes at the cost of our own happiness, at our own peace within. And it's not about putting ourselves first before other people, but I can guarantee you that if you are this way, a lot of mothers end up this way, and that's a different conversation because it's a biological, form of turning into, from maid into mother to, caring for other people. But when we are young, in our 20s and 30s, and we are starting to self-loathe and starting to self-sacrifice and starting to completely depreciate ourselves so that everyone around us is happy, we have major issues. And we cannot normalize this. So we might self-sacrifice, we might, demean ourselves, we might be lost in comparison, we might be feeling inferior, we might feel like our time doesn't matter, we might have negative thoughts like, it doesn't matter what I think, it doesn't matter what I feel, all that matters is that this person is okay. We might get into states of anxiety and depression. And of course, these thoughts that we think when we are not honoring ourselves are going to slowly start to program the body to believe that we are worth less, and it's going to cue on anxiety and mental health problems. We also might be self-sacrificial because we are afraid of conflict. A lot of empaths, a lot of spiritual women, a lot of deep feelers will start to avoid conflict at all costs, making sure that, they put other people before themselves in order to avoid conflict. Guys, this is a major problem because you will have a very hard time finding happiness or peace in your life when you can't come into conflict. And also, you're doing an injustice to the other people, because if you cannot allow them to grow by letting them see the conflict, then you're inhibiting their growth. You yourself are inhibiting your own growth. I mean, avoiding conflict is basically just putting a Band-Aid on a running faucet. Like, at some point it's going to burst, and it's probably going to be your health, or it's going to be their health, or it's going to be some major issue, when it doesn't need to be like that. Self-loathing can also show up in comparison. So online, we might see other women, we might see women doing things that we want to do, we might see women more quote unquote, we might feel like they're more beautiful than us, we might feel like they're more aesthetic than us, we might feel like they have everything that we want. And this is not a realistic look at the world around us, right? We know that social media is not an accurate display of that person's reality. It is only what they want to show you, and it is only what looks nice. So it doesn't mean that they're not suffering themselves. But when we look at social media and go on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube or Visco or Pinterest, and we're just looking at all of this beautiful stuff, we start to feel like what I have is not good enough, and what I have is not, is not in any way, shape, or form even relative to what they have, and that must mean that I am lesser than, or I don't deserve it. And then we start to strive for it, and we can get into, mental health problems when we're not really honoring the fact that what other people are showing online is not their full reality. And also, as women, we need to let go of this war with other women. And I say this knowing full well that I need to hear these words deeply as well. It's something that I know I'm working on healing at this point in my life, is working with honoring other women, honoring their journeys, and honoring that it's not a competition. It's not about who's better, who knows more, who's prettier, who has the status, who has the money, who's more close to God. That is all literally nonsense. It doesn't even... So if you're watching this and you're like, okay, I definitely struggle with self-loathing. I feel like, I struggle with social anxiety and feeling like you're not enough. I just want to let you know that you are enough. And I want to talk about caring too much, which might seem a bit silly, but it really is a thing and it causes health problems. And I'm not saying, oh, you should care less, but we need to talk about it. As an empath or as a woman who feels, who knows things, who has an intuition, who has instinct that runs deep into your womb through your biology, you just feel things, you know things, you can see things maybe, you can almost predict things. Being in this world as a spiritual woman who is empathetic is very, very immense, and it requires a lot of boundaries. It requires a lot of, self-respect and honoring of your space. And if you do not honor that, you will run into self-loathing because you will never be enough for what this world requires and demands of you. Especially in Western culture, you will never be enough. You will never add up unless you're willing to sell your soul. Period. You will never be enough unless you're willing to sell your soul, according to Western culture standards. And so, putting that aside, we have to start to reorganize our own paradigm of what is important to me and what can I give my life force energy to that is not going to completely drag me under the sand and suffocate me. Caring too much about what other people think is a massive problem that so many women are facing. And it's natural, biologically, we want to be a part of the pack. We want to feel like we belong. We want to feel important and valued and worthy. And a lot of the times where we're placing our energy just is a false perception of, what being worthy really is. Social media will never show you what it truly means to be worthy. Those likes, those views, those comments, that's not worth. That will never be worth. Worth comes from within. And what can happen when we care too much about what other people think, about the world, about politics, about views, about comments under videos, about comments under your posts, about the news, is that as a spiritual woman, I've experienced this many times, is you start to calcify and literally create a wall over your person, over your womb, over your heart. You just become stone. And it's a protective mechanism because feeling too much of anxiety or this heartlessness or this drama, it's going to tear you down. It's going to tear you apart in some ways. And we need to avoid this at all costs. Jessica Ash Wellness was actually the woman who I first heard this theme of, or I guess wording of the calcified woman from. I heard it from her first. And she talks about it from a biological stance of, not having the minerals that you need in your body, feeling disheartened, feeling torn down, all of these things that really start to calcify a woman's being and her spiritual form. And I have experienced this as apathy. So maybe you want to care, but you just can't. Or maybe you desire and you used to care a lot about, the feelings of those around you, or you used to have more emotional responsiveness, and now you just don't. And now you just can't in some ways. And this, unfortunately, has become the norm, but I would not say it's normal. And it's important to be able to have the ability to control our emotions. I definitely believe that. We shouldn't be going around the streets screaming and yelling and crying and acting like animals, but we should also, have the ability to feel deeply. It's almost like the opening of a color palette or like this rainbow and this deep, visceral experience of life that is emotional, that is feeling, that is instinctual, that is like primal, that feels very organic, versus the kind of, apathetic, robotic, zoned out reality that a lot of us end up living day to day. It's like when you feel it, it's not natural, it's not organic. Self-loathing can very easily become an apathetic state where we are just zoned out because we've given too much from our cup, and now we no longer have the resource to really care or really provide our energy or really want much in life. I also mentioned APD, which is avoidant personality disorder, and I realized that I myself was struggling with this immensely when I just noticed that everything that I wanted to do, it was basically there, ready for me, and I was avoiding it. And I was avoiding it because I had fear of people, of the social aspect, and of not adding up, not being enough, not being able to do it, not having the resources or the energy to do it. And so APD and social anxiety and self-loathing are like this horrible trifecta of basically what happens when we don't honor ourselves. And we, are stuck in this falsity of what life has become for a lot of people. And we start to not honor ourselves, and we start to not appreciate the beauty of that which we are, and we start to want to give more than we have to other people and make sure that everyone around us is happy, and it gives us a false sense of safety and security and joy and peace when inside we're rotting and we're hurting and we're broken. And that is just not a state that I want you to ever be in, because it won't be able to hold you. You won't be able to do what you want in life. You won't be able to ever find peace or God. God has a very hard time finding you when you're in deep self-loathing, because you might not even believe in God at that point. So how do we start to heal these things? And this is a journey that I'm on currently. So learning how to heal apathy, learning how to heal self-loathing, it really does start in your mind. Okay, so we have to become aware of what we're thinking, what we're telling ourselves, how we are approaching day to day. We become robotically responsive to our patterns. So it won't even matter if you think that you want to have a great day. If your body's used to feeling blank at a certain time of day, then you will feel blank. And a lot of people demonize the body for this. They're like, yeah, that body's an animal. Like, you need to train it. Like, no, the body is basically responding to your mind and how your mind has been acting over the last few months. So you need to direct your body, direct its sacred intelligence, and realign it to its highest path. Your body, I really don't like when people call the body like a meat suit or garbage, or like you need to train that thing. Like, yes, you do, but also the body's not like a wild animal. The body is such a beautiful, amazing temple, and intuition and instinct is going to be something that saves you more times than you could probably ever count, and way more than your mind will save you. Hands down, that's my opinion. So learning how to heal, first of all, we need to take space. We need to take space from anything in our life that is really dragging us down. And this is hard because that means that we have to go against the rules of society, which is basically hustle till you die. And if you don't have $1 million, you are nothing. And if you're not posting on social media and you're not some kind of like influencer, or if you're not building a business right now, then like you're okay. Erase all of that. We need to take space, come back into the organic architecture of this earth, which is nourishment, growth, easefulness, life. I always reflect back on Mama Yaya. She is such a beautiful representative of organic life. She is so nourished. She is so abundant. She doesn't care what the timeline is. She's doing her own thing. She has her innate intelligence. She is rooted within. She is thriving with her homies all around her. That is definitely the greatest teacher. She is definitely the greatest teacher. So take space. Give yourself permission to take space from people, from your job, from your weird side hustle that maybe isn't doing anything for you yet, from anything that you feel like is cramping your style. I don't know why sometimes I turn into like hip hop. Next thing is find yourself, which is essentially going within, starting to do your meditation, do your prayer, go back within your body, do your energy healing work, whatever it is that you do, find her, go back within, and start to just sit with it. Really just sit with it. Really just, even if you're crying and you're shaking and you're like, this is the worst feeling in the world, you have to. You really gotta. You really gotta, because it won't, nothing will change if you can't feel yourself. If you can't feel yourself, then there's no way for you to find like this drive and willpower and vitality to move forward and really claim your space and claim yourself. We need to claim ourselves, take up that space, and then like really just create this aura. And it might take months. It might take months and months and months of you finding yourself and finding that space. So we're taking space, we're finding ourselves, we're going within, and we're not apologizing. We're starting to look at how we speak to ourselves. We're starting to look at how we are communicating with this life, with this world. So we're not apologizing. And we're really looking at ourselves, looking at our patterns, looking at how we communicate with ourselves, looking at how we treat ourselves, what we think about, and noticing how that really will alter and create your realities, how you think, the way that you speak to yourselves, the words that you use. People say words are spells. They really are. The words that you speak are going to impact your reality massively. The people that you're around, the way that they're speaking, the shows that you're watching, the music that you're listening to, that is all creating this perspective of your reality. Because think about it. When you were young, the words that your parents used, the activities that you guys did together, the way that your parents communicated to each other, that basically formed your identity and your foundation of who you are today. And that is basically like, you can either stay with that data and that programming, or you can rewrite the program and start a new version of self that is highly attuned and aligned with your core values and who you want to be. And it is magic. It's like energy weaving. It's beautiful and powerful, and it's you taking ownership of your life, co-creating with God, the one true living God, Most High, weaving together and creating magic in your life. You really owe it to yourself to claim that space, to claim this beauty, that which you are, the preciousness, the empowered, beautiful, divine person that you are. Even if you don't feel that way, I get it. It's time to go within. It's time to sink deep. It's time to die to that version of self that is holding you back. Let them be released and reclaim your truth with God. This, as I speak, okay, this is like, could be a 10-year process, could be 1 year, could be 4 months, could be 2 days. I don't know how long it's going to take for you. I don't know how long it's going to take for myself, but I know that this is a powerful blueprint. And it's truth. It's probably things we've all heard before, but it really is just taking action, choosing to do it. You know how it goes. So yeah, guys, self-loathing, it's a thing. It's a thing that we're all struggling with, or maybe we're not all struggling with. If you're not struggling with this, bless God. I'm so thankful. And if you are, please know that I'm here for you, and I understand what you're going through, and you're not alone, and you can get through this. You can change, you can shift, you can realign. You are not worth less. You are worth so much, more than you could even comprehend. Your presence on this earth matters. And thank you so much for watching. If this resonated with you, or there was something that stuck out to you particularly, I would love to hear down below. And I will see you guys next week, hoping. I'm not going to show up if I'm really like down in the dumps, but I do have some content ideas written down. And if you guys have things that you're moving through or want support with, you can always comment them down below and we can chit chat about it. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.